This is a baby. This is ridiculous. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And we have to come together. It's not about titles. It's not about money. It's not about anything. It's about love, compassion, and understanding.
We got to call on these people. Like, y'all got to have some kind of remorse for human life. Like, you got to know what your children are. You got to know what your children have. Why is a child outside at 2 o'clock in the morning shooting into people's houses?
This is really a tragedy time for us right before Christmas. I just want my baby back.
The family of beautiful 9-year-old Kaylee Knight is in deep mourning.
It's not going to be complete because she's always here with me on the holidays. We always do Christmas. We open one gift the night before Christmas. And then the next morning, I let them open up all their gifts.
On Thursday, December 7th, crime investigators in Mobile, Alabama will set up a press conference to update the public about the shocking shooting that left a 9-year-old girl unalive. Police pulled over a vehicle at a gas station just the other day where they were able to make an arrest in regards to 9-year-old Kaylee Knight's unaliving. After the arrest, another person will be brought into custody, and it will be determined by law enforcement that a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old are the ones who allegedly took her life. As both individuals were brought out to be taken to jail, the world will get their first look at who was allegedly involved. 19-year-old Tyrone Williams, who would be charged with felony unaliving, and to everyone's shock, a young girl, 22-year-old Ariel Curry, would also be charged with felony unaliving. Both of them would speak to the press as they were being hauled off from the Mobile Police Department headquarters to a correctional facility. Both also denied knowing anything about what happened, but sadly, Ariel would say that she has a daughter, but showed no remorse about what happened, despite somewhat admitting her guilt. And Tyrone would take the sad approach and act confused, as he said he was so sorry for the family's loss.
Come on, Ariel, your crowd is waiting. A 9-year-old girl.
I didn't.
That could have been your sister.
I didn't. I
That
have a
could have been
daughter. I have
your
a daughter.
daughter. Exactly.
I didn't.
So who did?
I have a daughter.
Who did?
Are you wrongly accused?
Yes.
You didn't do it.
No.
So you weren't involved at all? You weren't in that car?
I was.
You were in the car?
Yes.
So who shot her? Who shot Kaylee?
I don't know.
You don't know? Your eyes were closed?
Yes.
You didn't see who shot? You didn't see
Did you know the
who shot a
family?
gun?
No.
Do you have anything to say to the family of that little girl who
To
died?
her mother? To her
I
siblings?
didn't. Well, no, I didn't do anything, so I don't have nothing to say.
Who did it?
I don't know.
Your daughter's going to have to watch. Anything you want to say?
I love you, baby.
To your family?
To my family, I love y'all. And I didn't do this, and y'all know I didn't do this, and y'all know I grew up in church, and y'all know how I am.
And why are you getting in this car right now?
Because it was just wrong place, wrong time.
Who did it?
Ariel, this is your last chance. Who did it?
But you want to clear your
Say
name
this for
here?
Kaylee, 9-year-old Kaylee.
Excuse me. I appreciate you.
What do you have? You're already talking. What is it?
Did
you do this?
I don't know.
They're accusing you of this. For a 9-year-old
didn't
girl,
do
you're
nothing.
19.
Get out my
You just
face.
threw your whole life away and you took
I didn't
Kaylee's.
do nothing wrong.
You have
bro.
nothing you want to say.
I ain't do nothing wrong.
So
Anything
were
to
you
say
in
to
the car?
family of the little girl that died?
Were you in the car that night?
I ain't do nothing wrong at all.
Were you
I'm
in the
telling
car that
y'all.
night?
We've been told that one of you pulled the trigger. Did you have a gun that night?
And
did you
your
fire
friend
it?
just said she didn't do it.
Anything you want to say to the victim's family, to Kaylee's family?
Felony murder.
I'm sorry for y'all loss, but the mama know, her mama know I ain't do nothing wrong. Like, they mama know I ain't do nothing wrong. So she should say that in court. We would,
Do you
I
know
talked
her
to her
mother?
mama.
Have you met the family before?
Anything you want to say? This is your last chance. A 9-year-old girl.
I'm so
9-year-old
sorry,
girl.
y'all. I'm so sorry.
9
I
years
ain't do
old.
nothing wrong, though.
So you were there, but you didn't do anything. This is your last chance. A 9-year-old girl. That could have been your cousin, your sister, anybody.
What you mean my last chance?
Your last chance to say something. Her family is watching, 9 years old.
I need my.
Hold on, let's reset.
I'm so sorry. You know, y'all, she know. I ain't. Why was y'all, man?
Well, your beef was with the young guy.
It wasn't.
The 15-year-old. No, it wasn't?
No.
So how was he involved in this? Why are you there?
My beef, I wasn't there, man. What y'all talking about?
Why were you there that night?
Your beef was with it. If your beef wasn't with her brother, who was it with?
In Mobile, Alabama, a fourth grade teacher at Linecoff Elementary School will give a touching tribute to her student, Kaylee Knight, after she tragically lost her life. Kaylee's teacher said, "You had your days, but gosh, you had the biggest heart. I remember taking that first picture, and you asked me what analytical meant, and I explained to you that it's a person that analyzes situations to make sure it makes sense, and you said, oh, that sounds like me. So I took your picture, and it's one of my favorite of you. We worked very closely in the small group table, and you worked so hard to make sure you got whatever concept I was trying to teach you. Me and Kaylee made a deal that whenever she had a good day, she could help me take care of the crawfish after school and clean up. Well, Monday, the day before she passed, we had a good day, and you helped me with the crawfish. After she left, she gave me the biggest hug and said, I love you, Miss Gordon. And that gives me so much peace from all of this. Your peers, teachers, and classmates sure do miss you, baby girl, and you will forever be my feisty little mama." Kaylee, who is now sadly forever 9, left a big impact on her teacher, I see, and to many, many more people, family and friends alike. One of Kaylee's aunts would say, "Before I had my own child, you were my first, 3 months old chum. I gave you that name." She used to down an 8-ounce bottle, so I had to give her that nickname. It still fits her until this day. Her aunt will go on to express how when she finally had her daughter just shortly after Kaylee was born, they both were like her twins. And what she did for one, she would do for the other. Now Kaylee's cousin's world has been torn apart, losing someone she has shared her life with like a sister. Not only that, Kaylee had multiple brothers and sisters, and now there's a missing piece to their puzzle. The tragedy took place on Tuesday, December 5th, around 2 in the morning. Police received a call about shots fired, and when they arrived to the home, they found Kaylee suffering from an unknown number of gunshot wounds and was rushed to the hospital, where she sadly later passed away. The Mobile County District Attorney will call the shooting horrifying and heartbreaking, because it truly was. Kaylee was said to have been in her front room of her home, asleep on the couch, when an AR-15 bullet started to pierce the home. Several other children were also in the house, but there were no other injuries reported. The community would spring into immediate action because they wanted to find out who would do such a crime in a house full of kids. 19-year-old Tyrone and 22-year-old Ariel were allegedly targeting the 16-year-old brother of Kaylee, who was not even home at the time of the shooting. Now, investigators said that they believe Tyrone pulled the trigger allegedly, and Ariel was the getaway driver. Well, according to her eyes were closed, but she is the said alleged driver, according to the police. She also said out of her own mouth that she was in the car, so she definitely knows more than what she's telling. Even if Ariel did not pull the trigger, Alabama is a state that will hold her just as accountable for being in the car. For the life of me, why is a mother out at 2 a.m. doing a drive-by with a teen boy allegedly? Does she not get what federal unaliving charges are, and that she will never be able to raise her daughter if she's found guilty? What I want to know is, did she knowingly play a part allegedly, or did the boy trick her out her life and say, take me somewhere or drop me off, and then when they pulled up allegedly, he just started shooting? Let me know what you believe happened, because there is no way that she just crashed out over some teen gang beef. It does not make sense to me at all. Both Ariel and Tyrone were denied bond, and their relationship status was not given at this time. Now, the investigators did say that the reason it's not regular unaliving charges, but federal unaliving charges, is because they both were complicit in their actions. No family should have to bury a little girl for being at home in what is supposed to be a safe place. When Tyrone talked to the press, he sounded like he knew the family and Kaylee's mother. So if he did use an AR-15 and shoot up a home, he had to know that there were multiple kids in the home. No regards for life at all these days. It's like the younger generation is soulless, and it's very sad indeed. My deepest thoughts are with his family in this tragic time, and I will keep you up to date if more information becomes available. The family has started a GoFundMe to help with funeral costs, so if you would like to help, I will link it up top and in the description box below. Please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their difficult time, and also don't forget to hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember, stay woke. Things change quickly.
With these suspects in the drive-by shooting?
Yes. Tyrone Williams and Ariel Curry have been arrested for the murder of the 9-year-old girl. They were in court this morning for a bond hearing. They're being held at this time without bond. We notified the court that we will be filing to have them held until trial under Anaya's law.
Okay, so did they actually physically appear in court, or was this a video appearance? Do you know?
I assume they were in court. Were they in court?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the judge denied bond.
Right.
Based on the Anaya's law application?
That's correct. At this time, they're being held without bond pending that Anaya's hearing, which I expect will happen next week.
Okay. And do you know how many cases we're up to that you guys have filed for an Anaya's law hearing? Is this do you know what number it is?
We're around 10, maybe a little under that, but 7 to 9, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
And at this point, do you know if either of these defendants was the actual shooter?
We believe that one was a shooter. We believe that Ms. Curry was the driver of the vehicle. This is still under investigation, as all of these cases are. So as more facts come to light, that will come out in court.
And do you expect further arrests?
I expect this to be an ongoing investigation, and I expect that law enforcement will identify everyone responsible for this, and we will prosecute them.
And could you speak to the motive? Why were they wanting to shoot up this house that this little girl was in?
It appears at this time that there was some kind of personal dispute going on between people that led to this horrific shooting that kind of boiled over into the shooting at this house where the girl was asleep on the couch.
Mm-hmm. And do you know, does this have any connection? Because there was a drive-by shooting not far away from this location on Stuarty Court, like a week or so prior. Are those two drive-by shootings connected?
As I said, this is an active, ongoing investigation. Those facts are being determined. It's not outside the realm of possibility that those are connected, but we will get to the bottom of that.
And this was an ongoing dispute, I guess, between this girl's brother and these other people?
I don't know the exact details of the dispute. It was, I'm told, over a relationship that had gone awry, and it kind of boiled over into this shooting scenario, which is, it's an absolute worst case scenario that we see when a completely innocent child is killed like this.
A relationship, romantic relationship?
I don't know the details of the status of the relationship. I just know it's a dispute over a relationship.
And what are the relationship between the two suspects arrested? Are they related? Are they what's their?
I don't know if they're family related, but they are associates of one another at a minimum. We believe that they were in this vehicle together that was involved in the shooting, so they are some kind of associates.
And the vehicle that the sheriff's office stopped yesterday, is that the vehicle that was used in the drive-by shooting?
At this time, we believe it is. Again, it's an ongoing investigation, but that's our belief at this time.
And one of the suspects was in that car, or they both were?
We believe that the female suspect was the driver and that the male suspect was a shooter.
But when the sheriff's office pulled it over, were one or both of them in it?
I'm not clear on that right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are now sentencing enhancements for gang activity in the state,
Yes.
and Chief Prine has said that this is they believe a gang-related drive-by shooting. So will your office be pursuing these sentencing enhancements if it gets to that point?
We will pursue those sentencing enhancements in any case where we can. We do believe that there's a gang component to this shooting. For the sentencing enhancement to apply, the crime would have to be in furtherance of gang activity. I think that part is unclear right now, but it's, of course, still under investigation. We would apply any enhancements that we possibly could.
But your office will be pursuing that. Feasibly, it could be one of the first in the state prosecuted under these new sentencing guidelines.
Right. This new law took effect in September, so these cases just haven't worked their way through the system yet. But when they do, we will seek these sentencing enhancements where crimes are committed in furtherance of gang activity.
And do you know off the top of your head what kind of enhancements? I mean, this really elevates how much prison time
It does.
people could be serving. Do you know? I mean, I know it's written in the law. I can look it up. But I mean, do you know just off?
Yeah, just off the top of my head, I think for murder, which is a 10 to life. With a gun enhancement, it's 20 to life, and I believe this gang activity enhancement takes it to 25 years minimum. So that immediately gets the sentence into a different category from anything 20 and below under, at the Department of Corrections. They're classified differently. The parole is handled differently. So it is even though it's 5 years, it's a very, very significant enhancement.
In terms of the Anais law, can you speak to their backgrounds that would be part of that? I mean, do they have criminal records? Other information you tend to present to say that this is elevated above the typical defendant?
I'm not aware of any prior criminal history at this time. However, just the circumstances of this, I feel created such a danger to the community that there is no lesser restriction that would keep the community safe other than having them locked up until trial. Like I said before, this is one of those worst case scenarios that we have to prosecute. It's outrageous that this happened. And so for the good of the community, we're going to ask the judges to lock them up until trial.
And would you expect a ruling from the bench at the hearing, or do they take a little bit of time?
It's different in different cases. Sometimes there's a ruling. There's a pretty involved order with some fact finding that has to be done, and so oftentimes a judge will take it under submission for a period of days while they're going through all of the evidence. But that differs case to case.
And I know this has come up before on these kinds of things involving a felony murder scenario. But can you talk about whether this is something that would be a capital murder eligible crime? I mean, I think it would, just based on the shooting from a car would, but do you have to prove the specific intent to the specific victim, or just that they were trying to kill someone?
This could potentially be a capital murder scenario if and when it goes to grand jury. The difference between capital murder and intentional murder, and felony murder for that matter, is that we have to prove a specific intent to kill. So with murder, it's an intentional act that causes a death. With capital murder, it's a specific intent to kill a person. We can get into a potential scenario of what we call transferred intent, where the defendant may intend to kill one person and then kill someone else. Capital murder would still apply if there is evidence of that specific intent to kill. So it is a higher standard of intent. It's one that we feel like needs to be thoroughly investigated, which is why we chose to approve charges at this time for felony murder and then file for Anais.
And felony murder does not require this specific intent, correct? It's just you're committing another felony and a foreseeable death arises.
Right. You intentionally commit an inherently dangerous felony, and during the commission of that felony, a death is caused, and that's basically felony murder in a nutshell.
And so, if you were to go capital, though, you would then have to have that higher burden of demonstrating the specific intent to kill.
That's correct, and that's why this is an ongoing investigation, just like these cases always are. Many times up until trial, they're ongoing investigations, but we will uncover new facts and new evidence that may trend in that direction.
Yeah, was the gunman recovered, and was it stolen? Do we know much about the weapon?
I'm not aware at this time.
And then I guess you're just sort of relying on the police to develop additional suspects if there are.
That's correct. They are still working this case. Our Mobile Police Department homicide unit is one of the best. They will work night and day to make sure that anyone that needs to be held accountable will be held accountable.
How cooperative have the victims been in this? Because I know a lot of times that's a difficulty of, people want to seek their own street justice and they don't want to cooperate when there's a killing. Have you got a lot of cooperation?
It's kind of early in the process for our, contact with them. I do know that their hearts are breaking, just like, you know, our hearts are breaking too. Can't imagine the loss that they've suffered. And so, you know, we stand here to help them and help our entire community in this case.